Hello, everybody, and welcome to Travis's tier list as part of our yearly tier list tradition. Mm-hmm. This is, I think, like our 4th or 5th year doing it, which we've been doing this for a long time. We've been making a lot of content
videos for a long time.
Yeah, even Arkham Files has just been like, it's been like from, I don't even, like 10 years almost.
Yeah, I was going to say 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, 2016, I think, is when we started doing it together. So that's crazy. If you don't know, I mean, this is the last of the 3 videos. We always like to end with Travis on Boxing Day because he likes punching people. Isn't that true?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. Okay.
So in this one, I am not here to argue with Travis at all. I'm literally just here to I'm going to play devil's advocate and actually echo your opinions in ways. Like I'm gonna forgo my own thoughts and opinions,
You're like
and I'm just gonna
I am.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
I'm gonna echo your thoughts as we get through them.
Okay.
So Travis, you take it away. We're starting just in order with Roland Banks here.
So this is like the power tier list, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Roland is probably we'll stick him in B for now. That might change later, but he's got a couple new toys in the last couple cycles. That the custom ammunition I think is pretty big for him in general.
Yes. Yeah.
And he still has that secret access, which is nice, and they always get their good level 0 cards. So, but then he isn't great. Still has 4 in his do something stat, 3 in his book, which is not very functional. Hello, Russell. You found a video you can be in.
Yeah. He was sleeping upstairs, and he heard us talk, and he's like, I gotta get in on this.
Tier list, don't touch me.
Yeah, that's not Bryn. That's not Bryn, buddy.
Yeah, he's just okay. I think he's kind of like the baseline for the middle tier investigator for me.
Oh my god. He's like, don't take me out of here.
Okay, maybe
all right.
A few pets, but
next up we got Daisy Walker.
She's going to the A tier for now. Again, we're reserving S tier for best in class. It is possible in my mind that for example, there might be I might end up with Amanda or Rex in the A tier if I decide the other one belongs in S tier, and they're better than another S tier investigator like Mark objectively, but Mark would be, in that example, the best fighter, so he gets that slot. So Daisy very strong. She keeps getting printed, some pretty solid tomes. Secret access is nice. 5 books, great.
Yeah.
The extra action, again, scales with what they print. So I still don't quite think that she has the tools. They've had the tomes printed for her to really push her over the top of some of the other investigators, but she is definitely one of the best in the game.
Nice.
So.
All right. Skids O'Toole.
You don't want to do... Oh, you just had in the wrong order.
Yeah, this one I put in the wrong one.
I've played Skids recently.
You did, and it did not go well. I take responsible for...
It wasn't great, no. I think I am going to put Skids in the F tier, though, which is our design failure tier. Skids does still have a somewhat unique deck building, but there's nothing that pushes him to any kind of archetype. He doesn't really... I'm sure someone could come up with a deck that he could play that only he can play, really, but I don't think that there are the cards there quite yet to make him worth playing over other investigators. We did see a couple cards, we were optimistic about Butterfly Swords and that sort of and Sweeping Kick, but I really don't think those have done it for him, and they still play better in other investigators.
Yes, yeah, I think that's kind of how it goes. Most of the time you see something, you're like, this could be good for Skids, then it ends just being better for somebody else. Yeah.
Yep. It's just a consequent. His whole card is... We've talked about this before. I'm sure you've heard about in the other videos, which I wouldn't know about because I haven't been recording yet.
This is actually the first one.
Yeah, I'm sure you have heard about them, and I will hear about it. But his design's just really antiquated, or antiquated. That's the right way to say that word. The whole 2 resources for an action is just brutal. It really should be one resource for the action or just a different ability. His signature is just ass.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Agnes Baker.
I think Agnes belongs in the A tier. She has 5 brain.
She has a nice spread between her health and her sanity. Survivor just keeps getting more tools to keep her from ever dying. And the testless damage has always been great. It's just been like, how many times can you use it? And on top of the Survivor tools keep her from dying, there's better and better healing being printed.
Yes. Yeah.
Get more use out of that. So yeah, Agnes just really great.
Just yeah. Never's been bad. Like always has just been like very
steadily
solid.
gotten better over time. She started out really strong with Pete Sylvester and the smoking pipe and stuff. Yeah. So.
Wendy Adams.
Man, why are the Coruscant investigators not Skids so good?
Yeah.
She also belongs in A tier. There's not much to say. Like, she just eliminates a huge part of the variance from the game. Very similar to Jacqueline Fine's, also someone that gets rated very highly. She's got a great card pool. Survivor used to be a not so great card pool to have as your primary because they only got printed cards 0 to 3 for a very long time, level 0 to 3. But now they start getting 4s and 5s and opens up a lot more options and like power plays for Wendy. And she has a pretty solid stat line, pretty optimized one, great defensive stats. Just really good. It's interesting the contrast between her ability and Skids, where they're both like, or their designs, where they're both like very open-ended. And both of them have kind of a mediocre stat in their numbers and the do something stats.
Yeah.
Wendy has 3 book and 1 punch. Skids has 3 and 3.
Yeah.
But the way that Wendy's ability interacts with the game is just so much better than the way Skids does.
Yeah, I know. Wendy's also interesting too, because as we were talking about Skids, when he gets new cards and we're like, this is good in Skids, someone else can use them better. And Wendy still gets those same cards. Like, for example, the British Bulldog, you look at Skids and Wendy, and actually it's better in Wendy, right?
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you have to build around it some, but you have the option, you can try and scum tests with Ancient Covenant, and she can actually. It sucks to be Skids, man.
It really does. It really does. All right, Zoe Samaras.
I'm gonna put Zoe in the B tier. I might kick Roland down to the C tier for this. She's definitely noticeably better than Roland, I think, despite the smaller card pool. She has a slightly more optimized stat line. She has a more relevant ability most of the time. She's got better health and sanity line, softer weakness. Zoe's just always kind of been the bread and butter guardian.
Yeah.
And I think she'll continue to be for a long time. I talked about this in previous videos a long time ago, but I think that a lot of the Dunwich investigators have just kind of gotten outclassed.
Yeah.
Well, most notably Jim and Jenny. And I think Zoe is on her way to being outclassed, where the big draw that she brings is a semi-optimized stat line, and then the economy you get from engaging guys, and as they print more economy, that she gets kind of outclassed on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is something that I think also might happen to Mark while we're on the topic. As they get more card draw, Mark's ability becomes less valuable.
Yeah. And then he kind of just becomes 5-fist with...
Yeah, at least Mark does have the advantage of getting the stat boost from Sophie, which makes him have effectively +2 to all of his stats whenever you actually need it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he has a much more interesting card pool because they actually print neat tactics.
Yeah, and it's just even the difference that only 5 level 0. Jeez, Russ. Only 5 level 0 cards is even though you have the whole pool, it is more limiting than endless level 0 tactics, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
All
Especially with the 6 tactics there are.
Yeah, oh yeah. Mr. Rex Murphy.
Is he errated?
It's your call. It's your call for this.
I think he gets the S tier for like raw clue gang power either way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's much closer if he's tabooed.
Yeah.
To Amanda probably. But yeah, we talked about Rex a lot, especially in Secret Week. You can go back and watch those videos if you missed them. But Rex is a beast. It's like a god amongst men. Untabooed, he's a huge... Honestly, he could also be in the F tier for design failure. Because they really aim too high on that one.
Yeah, just a little bit of like didn't really have like the numbers sorted oversight, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like we designed all of Dunwich, then we released them, we're like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh my god, you make me just throw all your resources and cards into succeeding by 2 for extra clue, because that's what you're going to use them for anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 All right.
Jenny,
yeah. Good old Jenny.
I don't like Jenny. She can go sit in the D tier for now. Obviously she's not as bad as Skids. I don't think that she mostly gets the D tier because I think that she has lost a large amount of her niche with the printing of additional cards.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue used to lack a lot of that level 0 economy that she made up for with her ability, but as they've printed more of that and easily accessible low experience economy too, like being able to get easy mark with in the thick of it is huge for a lot of rogues. Just 3 solid economy cards in your deck at level 0 is really, really good and boosts a lot of their decks. And so yeah, I think Jenny's like pretty obsolete now. The 3s across the board is like dog water stats.
Yeah. Yeah.
The archetypes that she used to play well generally are just played better by other rogues because they don't have to worry about that early economy. Yeah.
Thanks for hitting the light, Russ. Very kind of you.
That's okay.
Jim Culver.
They're here listen to us talk about Arkham, not look at us. So yeah. He's F tier, as is tradition. We only talked about this before, and you talk about the same things every year for some of these guys.
Yes, yeah, because they haven't improved.
They haven't changed at all, no. Stats are like meh for a Mystic. Really haven't had a ton of cards to make use of that 3 fists and 3 book. The 2 foots, whatever. The 4 brain, you wish it was 5.
Yeah.
He's got the Dunwich deck building, which is fine. His ability does actual nothing, though, so whatever. Yeah, Jim sucks.
Jim, he sucks, but he also blows his trumpet.
He does, yes.
Ashcan Pete.
Duke the dog.
Good old Duke the dog. Russ, do you like Duke the dog?
I think Duke the dog lives in... Wait, it's an asshole. You're going to go to prison if you're not careful.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, one of my pets not too long ago, and now you're getting violent.
Yeah, you know what, Russ? I think you might have to go to jail right now, but I have to be a little bit careful. Hello? Good boy. Let's go.
Yeah, so I get control now. Belong, I think, around here. Duke's always been actually, you get to go before Zoe, because you're cooler.
He's got a dog.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a huge dog person, but Duke is not the best at anything ever, but is an extremely flexible investigator, which plays very well into the survivor class. It doesn't matter what they print.
Mm-hmm.
Duke will be a solid place to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll always keep pace with other investigators, I think, because of that. In previous years, I think I might have ranked him higher, like around A. But I do think the power level for Duke has fallen off a little bit. That 4, the 4 investigate and 4 fight isn't what it used to be. Numbers have gone higher. It struggles a little bit more in the later campaigns.
And also because we changed our ranking, we got rid of the A+. So, like, everyone's going to be trending down a little bit for all this.
Makes sense.
Just because of that. Because, like, really, F is the new D, D is the new C, C is the new B, etc., etc.
Yeah. But S is still there.
S is still, Can't stop that. Mm-hmm. Mark Harrigan.
I think Mark still gets to live in the S tier for now. I'm kind of toying with whether I like him or Nacho more as a dedicated fighter. I guess in my mind I'm going to say that Nacho competes with Tony instead. Mm-hmm. Mark is probably still the strongest like Guardian overall in that you can fight almost as well as Nathaniel Cho and even like not quite comparable to Tony because of all his extra actions, but like you can think about it.
Yeah.
But you also have just like really strong defensive stats because of Sophie and absurd card draw, which is something that Guardian still struggles with a little bit. They've got a couple tools for it, but I don't think it's still quite there enough to obsolete him. Maybe we'll put him in the A tier for now. Actually, I'll decide on that later. Maybe I'll talk myself out of it.
Yeah.
But Mark is still probably the best, just all-around Guardian investigator, I think.
He's also really good at flexing, like too, like just like that flex. Like he can get like those. He feels those like. Yeah, like, getting cards more because he can like bump up with Sophie and still draw a card and also do that things.
Yeah, you can roll up like lesson learned, take a hit. You're like, I get to replace my lesson learned and get my 2 clues, or you don't feel bad about running scene of the crime and get a couple clues with that, and you can pick up a couple more with the Sophie book investigate, and yeah,
because recently we did that run and Bryn played Mark Harrigan as the Kluber, and he actually like
was functional,
did very confident with it.
His 5 punch makes Breach the Door very strong for him too, I think.
Definitely.
I think that card does actually a lot for Guardian clue getting in general.
I'm
a fan of it.
Mrs. Minh Thi Phan, or Miss Minh Thi Phan, sorry Min.
I think she's like a B tier investigator for me, probably at the top for now. She has the best part of the survivor card pool. She is still a seeker. Her ability is still relatively strong. Her stat line is good, not great, but good. I don't think there's too much to say about her. She's a seeker. Her ability is relatively generic, so you can fit most archetypes into her. She's not locked into a certain deck. She gets really strong survivability and defensive options because of the survivor splash. She's good, but she's still she's like a really good investigator, but the other seekers are just so good.
I probably said this in my video, but the thing about Min that I always remember, she's always good, but there's every time I've seen someone play Min, there's always that moment it's like, I'm going to have to investigate, but I'll be up 3 because of my ability. I'll have to evade because I'm up 3 with my ability. And like, that's good, her ability's good, but it still always happens. There's always my sticking point with Min. There's always that time where it's like, they get overwhelmed, it's like, okay, I have to evade, you know? And Min's good at evading in a pinch, but still.
She can't pick that up, but that's not the same answers that people like. I mean, Rex, you just win the game before that's a problem. Mandy can pull whatever she needs out of her deck.
Daisy also can just like win the game
quicker. She's got a lot of flexibility, and Harvey also is just going to win before the game can. So
Sefina Rousseau.
I think that she is probably actually. I'm gonna put her in A tier, right at the bottom though. For right now. This is partially speculative because I have not played her. I haven't seen someone play her for quite a while. I guess Bryn played her in our Hemlock campaign, didn't he? Because he was asking how the hand thing worked with the.
He did. I completely forgot about that. He did play her there.
I think that she got a really big boost with the last couple sets, with like upgraded breaking and entering, and then the upgraded Dream Eater spells. I think those open up a lot of options for her. She has strong deck building. She's got an abnormal stat line for a rogue. And a lot of the things that rogue is built around being weak to, she just isn't. I think she's actually very strong because of that. So.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you know who also starts with the letter A? Akachi.
Yeah, okay. She's... I like forget she exists sometimes.
Yeah.
She's another B-tier investigator, I think. She's good, but she's just painfully boring. And she's just kind of like Jacqueline Fine, but worse. In almost every way. She has a slightly less restrictive deck building, but her ability is so much worse. Her stat line's basically the same, so...
Yeah. Big thing, too, is that Akachi's, like the new spells that you play from Edge of the Earth, she doesn't really, like, resonate with them in the same way the other ones do. And that's, like... Most of the time you're seeing, like, Brandigathuga. Like, it's still good. Like, you still, like, Rite of Seeking and Clairvoyance still do really well. But, yeah, it's kind of... She just, like, hasn't grown... Like,
yeah, like, her ability's good, but there's no... It's very, like, capped at what it can do.
Yes.
Like, +1 charge is good. That's, like, 33% more Rite of Seeking or whatever. But it also doesn't... There's no room for it to be abused, like Agnes's ability, for example.
Yeah. All right, Will Yorick.
He's an A-tier investigator. He's, like... borderline problematic as an investigator, I think.
He's every year we say it, he's close, and I think he's like closer. He's like the doomsday clock. He's
every time they print some like an asset that soaks damage and horror more efficiently or does something when it's like they print some kind of item that discards itself when it does its thing, and he gets that much better. That many more options, and like that endless recursion is going to be an issue someday, which I mean, it wasn't for a very long time because it was tied to killing an enemy, but they keep putting more options to find enemies, and I still hate that you can trigger his ability off killing his ghouls. That makes no sense to me. But
Lola Hayes.
She's, I guess, 11 F tier. Definitely better with the mutation or whatever they did for her. Whatever they call it. But as like a design, I think she's the initial design of her prior to that is garbage. You know, we've said it for a long time. It's not great. And then even with her being playable after that, I still think that her design is very poor. I understand what they were going for, and I understand that it's a very restrictive sort of space to design in, where you don't want to design her too strong to eclipse the power of other investigators with having access to the entire card pool. But also, like, she just ended up too weak. I think it was just a bit too ambitious of a design, and there's no easy fix to make it, like, engaging and fun to play. Also, she's bad, which is a power tier list, so, you know, you got that one, too. The 3s across the board, the 6 and the 6, like, everything's just, like, subpar. So.
Mr. Leo Anderson.
I think he's another C investigator for me. Rogue 0 to 2 isn't the good part of that card pool. Guardian 0 to 5 is super fair. His ability is a bit difficult to really get full value out of. It is tough to want to play an ally almost every turn, and I guess that's it should be every other turn to make up for it, because you get the cost discount too. Which is like kind of like an action, and then playing it is kind of an action. So still, even playing a new ally every other turn is a big ask. To keep up with something like, I mean, look at Daisy's extra action. You just do that shit.
You just do it,
Card pool is not great. I think you feel that 1 in the foot a lot more than you'd like to. And the 3 in the book is kind of just useless. It's just wasted stat points most of the time. Even if you... Because the sort of Guardian and Rogue card pool, there's nothing there that really incentivizes you to use your book, especially with the low foot on the Rogue side of things. And if you are going to be looking at getting clues, you have very strong testless options. Scene of the crime, intel report. That you're gonna prefer to that.
Definitely. All right, now it's my favorite time of the year. For the 3rd time this year, Ursula Downs.
F tier. This isn't any fault of Ursula's, really. In terms of actual power level, she's probably a B, I would say. But she has to live in the design failure tier because I don't think, I eagerly await which one of you is going to type out the Ursula isn't that bad, here's a deck you can play with her wall of text that we get every time this comes up. But I don't think there's a reason to play her over the other investigators that do the same thing as her. Most notably Monterey Jack. I understand why people like her, and like I said, she's not bad, but there's just anything she can do, someone else can do better, and because of that, she's a design failure to me. You can look at her. It's a little bit interesting, actually, because her ability is actually very comparable to Rex's. In that they both ask you to succeed a test. They both net you an extra clue.
Yep.
I'm assuming Rex is tabooed here, because
Yeah.
They both have that 4 in their book, so you have to kind of. Ursula's actually requires less investment, and sometimes ends up netting you more because you get a move action out of it as well.
Yeah.
But having to make a separate test for it is like deceptively much worse than Rex's, where Rex you already want to be putting resources into passing your test, and then you just have to put like a little bit more to get that +2 and get the second clue. Is for Ursula, you have to be putting in resources to 2 separate tests, and there's also the any kind of like variance or protection that you want to commit to that to do it as well. That hurts her.
Yeah. And then also like the whole thing where like sometimes you just like don't want to frickin' move or you can't move and it's just like, oh, I'm blank this turn.
Yeah. Her card pool is just yellow, so
yes.
Like anything that we just established that Rex is just better than her.
Yep.
So
and then even like the new thing where
even the move archetype, like Monterey Jack does basically the same thing,
Yep.
but he gets all the green level 0 cards and Ursula gets stupid purple Sealy card.
Yes. Yeah. And then like also like there's a whole thing where I know people are big on like her playing Curse, but even like Luke Robinson can just do like Curse better because like Curse is like caps out most of the time at 2 XP on the Seeker side. So yeah.
Even if you want more than that, I think Amanda plays it extremely well.
Yes, I'm doing it right now and it's crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Finn Edwards. Or as we like to call him here, Fun Edwards. We call him that every time off camera. This is our first time saying it on camera.
We do. Yeah.
He's probably not F tier, so I'm just going to move up.
Yeah, he's definitely not. I think you know which ones are F tier. I don't think I have any surprises for you this year. Actually, might be one, but Finn Edwards, I think he's like top of B tier, maybe. Bottom of A tier, and I'm top of B tier for now. Only being able to play Rogue 0 to 4?
0 to 3.
0 to 3, yep. That's surprisingly noticeable, even with the illicit 0 to 5. That being said, I still think he's very good. He's very flexible. Those 5 Seeker and Survivor slots do a lot of work for him.
Yep.
He's got a really flexible stat line. The one brain, obviously bad, but they've printed so many ways over the years for rogues to mitigate it that it's not.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a problem once in a while. Things just aren't going to line up, but it's not crippling like it
Yeah, it's actually kind of like now like just a benefit more often than not when you get this XP in your deck.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Father Mateo.
He gets to live in the F tier.
Whoa.
Yeah, wow. I don't really think that he has a niche anymore, especially with the printing of parallel Father Mateo and parallel Wendy. You can like kind of play like a Fish for Elder Signs build, but I don't know why you would really. You played him not too long ago, and he wasn't bad by any stretch, but with the new Hemlock cards, but I do think that anything he can do can be done better by a different investigator. So, yeah.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Very fair. Calvin Wright.
Calvin gets to live in the D tier. He's very close to being in the F tier, but not actually.
You know what? Here, we'll do that.
There you go. Good job, Jenny. Calvin just doesn't... Calvin brings a unique playstyle to Survivor, but doesn't really bring anything else or do anything. Pretty much... So Hank basically has Calvin's deck building. And the entirety of Calvin's design is around like mitigating the fact that you want to have just a pile of damage and horror on you at all time, and you don't want to get like gorked by that and by your weakness or whatever. I think he suffers a lot from that. I mean, so I don't think there is a niche for him still, in that if you want to play that play style, there isn't really a better option for it. While Hank does have his effectively have his deck building, he doesn't have the same. Just wants to carry around a whole bunch of damage and horror on him. Yeah. Especially once you flip. So yeah, Calvin's got that going for him. Yeah.
Nice job, Calvin. You did it. Stayed out of F tier because you got that.
Yeah. Calvin did get a little bit better from Scarlet Key's Test by Zero, where you can play those sorts of cards, that archetype, and not have to... Why are you playing Calvin then? Just play different... Survivor.
It is true, like, because that's kind of like Hank and Calvin, they are very similar.
Yeah.
Hank does the fight side better, Calvin does the book side better. But I think the reality is that for Calvin's thing, the book side is just done better with another investigator because you don't have to do the hoop part.
Yeah.
Like, Calvin is maybe good at like the blessed part of it because he plays Signum Crucis very well, but like even then, like that's pretty narrow.
I mean, yeah, it's extremely niche, but it's niche enough to keep him out of F tier.
Exactly, right? So good job, Calvin. Carolyn Fern.
I think Carolyn's an A tier investigator. Towards the bottom, though. She can live down there, yeah. Carolyn, I want to say, is probably the best Guardian clue getter. Which, I mean, isn't saying a ton because her competition is like Wilson Richards and Carson Sinclair, I guess. If only because he can play secret cards. I guess Roland. No, like Carolyn's card pool is very strong. She has an extremely strong economy, which is something that Guardian historically struggles with. And the Seeker and the Mystic slots really give her the clue compression to keep up with other clue getters. And it feels a little bit weird having her higher for that reason than like Min, but I do actually think that you could, if you build like a clue getting Min deck and a clue getting Carolyn deck, the Carolyn deck's probably gonna be better. So
I dig it.
Yeah.
That's Brand. Let's pause and he will magically appear. Joe Diamond.
Joe Diamond is a C-tier investigator. And
he fits perfectly with this gang down here.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, the only thing that keeps him at a D tier is that Seeker 0 to 5 and the like free card draw you get every turn. It's not always useful, but like if you build it good, it should be. It should be useful almost every turn. The defensive stats hurt a lot. It's really hard to make use of both the book and the fist to do things. You just really don't have the deck space, I don't think, to use both of them well. So very fun to play with, but this isn't a fun tier list.
No, this is power. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, actually, there's a thing earlier when you were putting Zoe in B tier and the bread and butter tier, and I didn't say it, but I knew if Brenna's here, it said B for bread and butter. I thought it in my head, but I didn't say it, so I'm saying it now.
Good.
All right, on to Preston Fairmont. Every time I see him, I just see him with the Jeff Bezos shirt because of that one thumbnail I made.
Yeah. Oh, God. Preston's pretty juicy. You can go to A tier.
A for affluent.
No.
A for a turkey?
No, he's here because 4 money a turn is a lot.
It's a lot.
And they keep printing better events in the more good events. Like, needing events to spend your money on is a pretty low bar to meet in terms of, like, designs that they're going to print.
Yes.
They're probably going to print more Survivor and Rogue events that cost money, and Preston loves that shit, man.
Yeah.
Also loves the big money stuff that they've been printing, though I think sort of an event play style is a bit stronger for him. But yeah, he's got really good. He's got arguably the best 0-2 card pool, and probably the best 0-5 card pool. Definitely the best 0-5 card pool. And he doesn't get full use out of it because some of the really strong cards he just doesn't like. Your Preston isn't using Lucky Cigarette.
No,
He's not doing that one.
I mean, even 2 is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Like normal one, the one that costs 2.
Yeah. But no, he's really good.
Yeah.
I think.
Diana Stanley.
She's a little bit tough, I think, because how good she is depends a lot on how fast you can kind of get her powered up and how much you're trying to get there. Some of the cancels that you might want to play are situational. You might just not hit those situations. Some of them, and then if you put too many in your deck, then, or if you just draw the wrong half of your deck and all you have is cancels and you don't do anything.
Yeah, but the game doesn't either, and there's no way for the game to punish you spinning your wheels forever.
Yeah, no way at all. And then alternatively, if you draw the other half, then you're like, you draw your like spells or whatever you're going to use your brain for, then you just don't do shit and you die. Because you can't cancel anything, you got one brain. I think I'm going to put her like toward the bottom of B tier for now. She might be C tier though. I think that the variance in there, I really don't like it. When she's good, she's very good when the cards line up for you, but neither of her card pools really have the card draw or the sort of card searching to make that, to ensure that. So yeah, we'll keep her there for now.
Nice. Marie Lambeau.
I think she also belongs in the C tier still. I've come around her a little bit. I do think that she is like a little bit better than we might have purported before. But because the free action that you get for spell is basically a free action to do what you want, probably.
Yes, yeah.
But you don't always get it because of the way the Doom Clock shakes out. You can't afford it. You might need to get rid of it. Has some new Doom cards printed in Scarlet Keys that help. Like Sin Eater's pretty big for her. But I also think, I don't have anything to back this up, but I feel like Doom Clocks on agendas have gotten slightly shorter. Like we more often get more smaller ones as opposed to some of the really big ones.
Like resetting ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which takes away some of the utility and consistency of that ability. And Baron Sanity's still just a gut punch.
He hates everyone and wants them to die.
Yeah, he's such a brutal basic weakness, especially when you have those, like, a resetting agenda or something like that, and you're just, he's here forever, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's why she ends up in C tier. She's definitely not bad, but she's not doing it.
Yeah. C for Ken Sing.
Yeah, sure.
Rita Young. C for Ken Run.
F tier. Fast.
Yes.
No. F tier's design failures, but she's not a design failure. She's actually pretty well designed, I think.
Yeah.
What level tricks can she play?
2.
Up to 2?
Yeah.
Or exactly 2?
I think up to 2. Maybe it's 3.
I think it's definitely
it might
2
be
because
3.
you can play Swift Reload. But
If it's 2, I don't think it matters. If it's more than that, really. But
It's 3.
it's 3, okay. Neat. I'm not sure what that gets her, but
Oh,
being able to
broken
play
it gets
level
you
2
like
is good.
aces. What do you call it?
Ace in the hole?
Yeah. That's the one. I think, right?
Yeah, the 3
It's
extra
like,
actions.
it's like 3, but exceptional.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Rita's a solid B tier investigator now. Probably on the upper end of the spectrum. They printed a couple really strong cards for her.
Mm-hmm.
The upgrade tricks are really nice. The sweeping kick's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really that like busts her wide open, but even things like with the new Hemlock Veil, like the pitchfork is just a weapon for her.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have such a hard time picking it up because she's incentivized to evade enemies anyway.
Yeah.
And being able to chunk an enemy for like 4 damage and a pinch for 2 actions is kind of insane.
Yeah.
At level 0 especially for a survivor, so.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where she hasn't gotten like better, but she's just gotten like she hasn't gotten like busted, but she's just gotten wildly more consistent.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
gone
good.
from being bad to like, this is pretty neat actually.
Yeah.
B tier for better than she used to be.
Wow. Yeah.
Thanks, friend.
All right. Tommy Muldoon.
Tommy Muldoon. He's a B tier investigator as well, I think. He's
Right,
got,
I was gonna say B tier or Riot because like B for Becky.
Yeah.
okay. I'm not. That's not what I'm doing.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not- he's got the survivor card pool again is always really good.
Mhm.
He's incentivized to play asset, which both Guardian and Survivor love doing. Getting the money back is great. Helps shore up some of the weakness, the resource or lack of resources both those classes suffer from. Stat line's not great though.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, Becky's not a great signature if you're not building into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's there and she's good, but she's not. She's just there.
Yep.
Yeah, like Tom Muldoon is just a very. Yeah, he belongs in the bread and butter tier.
Yeah.
So-
Beefer.
yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of bread and butter, we got Mandy Thompson, who doesn't eat bread and butter because she's just eating power fuel.
Yeah. She's an A tier. I don't
Yeah, we
have.
segue into Justin's G Fuel ad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My jaw is locking all the time.
Mandy does play like the toolbox archetype the best out of anyone, but I don't really count that as being the best of something, so that's why she gets to live in A tier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's really, really good. She's definitely in contention for like the best A tier investigators, but she doesn't really have a niche over the other top tier investigators, I think, to warrant a place in S tier.
Mhm.
But like, I mean, Mandy's really, really good, and I don't really want to talk too much about her because I did that a lot.
Yeah.
the last couple
Very
weeks.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
She's
right.
good.
Well, in that case, let's go to an investigator we'll be talking about in a few weeks, Tony
Wow.
Morgan, once we get to Rogue Week.
He lives in S tier, and man, he's going straight. He's going to the fucking moon after the next expansion, baby.
Yeah, he is going to get, like, just that much better.
Yeah, Tony. I mean, we've talked about it before. He's got 5 punch in a class that wasn't designed around that. Their cards are all like, your punch is garbage, right? And he's like, no.
Yeah. They're like,
It is
yeah, they give him the
not.
gun is like, thank God we've balanced this around your 3 fists, Tony. And he's like, I don't got 3 fists.
Yeah, it's a different prime number, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got just absurd deck building for some reason,
Yeah.
and his weakness is good for him. And he gets to take like 6 actions a turn or whatever, like punch thing. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like, the weakness is, in fairness, like sometimes in Ancient Evils, but like very rarely.
S for suck on that balance.
Yeah.
As for shooting, a lot of it.
Speaking of also S for suck on that balance, we got Luke Robinson.
This one might be a little bit personal bias, but I think Luke is an S tier investigator.
I don't think that's personal. I
Uh,
think that's just fact.
I really like Luke, so I feel like a little bit uncomfortable putting up there. But like, my God, is he ever good at everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get an absurd amount of action economy from the dream box, and also it's a way to deal with enemies and to scum the game. and it does a lot of heavy lifting for him. And his card pool is also just insane. For his, in addition, his stat line also insane. You might think that 3 book is not great with secret cards, but you're wrong.
Secret cards are balanced around working with a number in your book score.
Yeah.
Yeah, or not.
Yeah.
Just like a number.
Unless you want to
Like
do
one of
damage,
them.
then you don't need a number.
Yeah.
So we get Tesla's damage for free, baby. And then also you save so many actions. Like the skill seeing on him is extremely high, I think. Not just for game knowledge and knowing how to abuse his ability, the dream box in scenarios, but also how to make use out of that playing events at locations, adjacent locations. There's so much extremely good and extremely janky stuff you can do with that.
Yeah.
Russell's
Yeah, pretty much any time they print just a good mystic or seeker card or archetype, it's really good in Luke.
Yep.
Yeah, like how does Spectral Razor work with Luke?
Very well.
You can like pull the enemy to you?
Yeah.
Can you pull them into your dream gate?
Actually,
I don't think
no,
so,
I don't think
because
they
can't enter.
I don't think they actually you do pull them engaged with you because you treat them as if you're already engaged with them when you resolve the thing. So I think they stay there.
But it says that you can engage them.
But you already are engaged with them as part of his text box. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's how like I would read it. Because yeah,
that's fair.
As if you're engaged with them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. It also makes it not a problem with the gate box.
Yeah.
Anyway, Patrice is our next.
Yeah, Patrice is
investigator.
next.
Yeah. She's a C-tier investigator, I think. She got a couple decks that are quite strong, but she has this weird sort of relationship with consistency where you...
She really,
It's a weird relationship where you're like, fuck you, I never want to see you again, I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. You're always going to see all of your deck, every scenario. So you're going to see whatever card you're building around, or like set of cards, you are going to see it.
Yeah.
But God knows when you're going to see it.
When you're going to see it, and if you can play it.
Yeah,
even.
if you're in a position to play it, which makes her kind of awkward to play. I think she's an extremely fun investigator. I do think that she can be good, but there's a lot of variance there, I think.
Yeah.
Also, her stat line is ass.
It is kind of ass.
So,
Yeah.
loses points there.
It's only bad if you read it.
That is true.
You're like 4 brain, that's pretty good.
If you cover the 4, you're
Yeah,
everything
just
but the 4, you're like, wow, she's incredible.
Yeah, 4 brain, that's pretty
so
good.
good.
2 book, something else stats can be great. Oh, 2 punch, well, that makes sense. Not really good for her. 2 foot, too, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
She would have been fun with the Sefina stat line.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, on to the starter deck investigators with good old Nat Cho.
Nacho is an A tier for sure. I'm not sure if he gets to be an S tier or not. That's what we're thinking about, whether he's... no, he's not. That's a lie. Tony Morgan's the best punchy man. Nathaniel Cho is quite close, I think, though. I think we would have a much higher opinion of him if people actually played him and if he had more than one deck to play, because he's really
I've
good.
played a deck that hasn't used spirits for things. One time.
No, I mean, like,
Admittedly,
play
it was
like,
entirely
the
predicated
good
on
deck.
Justin's deck doing what I wanted it to.
Yeah.
I don't think that experience improved
I'm
anyone's
sorry.
opinion.
Are you suggesting that was atypical?
It was quite atypical, yes. I think the boxing glove deck is very strong and
Yeah.
is...
Who do you
He's
think
really
would
good.
win in a boxing tournament, him or Tony Morgan?
Can Tony have a gun or a switchblade?
No, I think Tony Morgan would just win.
Yeah, he would just shoot him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he would like show up with like knuckle dusters or under his boxing gloves or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And also he gets to punch like 6 times and that shows like twice or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Tony would just show up and beat the crap out of Nacho's weakness. He's just like, how many times do I have to fight you? It doesn't matter, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bat on your head.
Yeah, somebody paid me to kill you, so
Yeah.
that sucks.
All right. Harvey Walters.
Yeah. He is, we're gonna take the opportunity. I think we're gonna adjust the tier list a little bit because he's
All
an
right.
A-tier investigator. We're gonna do a little bit of cleanup.
Yeah.
Carolyn and Sefina are gonna go down to B tier, but both at the top of it. And Diana's gonna go down to C tier.
Where she belongs for cultist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah, yeah. Thank
Or
God.
cancel.
Everything. Yeah, everything. Oh, or
I mean,
cancel.
Really, I mean, it's kinda-
that looks like a little bit. It looks a little more normalized. Gonna do a little inter-tier moving around too. I think we're gonna put Rita to sort of like the bottom of the B tier. I don't think she's like super powerful. Tony's also gonna kind of live down there. Or no, sorry, not Tony. Tommy. Yeah, this close. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. S tier doesn't matter what we're there.
Yeah, they're all just
Yeah. Our C tier. Joe can probably go to the bottom of it, and then maybe you can go behind him, and then Patrice can go like between them. That's a little bit arbitrary, but whatever. D tier, I don't think about them, so.
Yeah, these ones also don't matter for the order. Yeah, they're just.
We'll
even though we did put Jenny before Kelvin, because Kelvin's on the edge, being like, oh,
yeah,
I'm one more bad release away.
Yeah. For our A tier, we can put Mandy up at the very top there, and then I think that Nathaniel Cho can go right behind her, and then I think Harvey's in a good place. I think Mark can live right in front of Nathaniel Cho, I think he's just slightly brings a little bit more to the team. I think York can live just behind Harvey because Harvey plays yellow cards. And Daisy can get booped up to behind Yorick, and I think that looks pretty good now. Yeah.
Nice.
Those ones are like really close though. It's a little tough to tell because they do different things. Where it's easier when I'm down there because I'm like, you guys kind of suck at everything, so it doesn't matter what order you're in.
Yeah.
Harvey Walters though, very drawing extra card, really good.
Yep.
Something I talked about a little bit before was like important. Well, I think it's important. Valuation metric is how easy it is to get that extra action out of the investigator's ability, because a lot of them do just boil down to an extra action. And all Harvey asks is someone at his location draws a card during their turn. Which isn't going to happen every single round, but it's going to happen almost every single round.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a really boring card pool, but like, and really boring ability, but it's like really strong.
Yeah.
4 brain, 5 book. It's, I don't know.
Yeah.
He does also get to live in the A tier for accidental death.
Sure. The thrice damn curiosity.
Yeah,
No, piano.
Yeah, it's actually
Yeah, piano fell on his head.
I don't think you should play Big Hand with Harvey. I think he's like probably like a B or C tier if you're playing that. Because you also have to play cards to manage your weakness. It's a lot better if you just like show up and you're like, I'm a seeker. I book the Shroud and play good seeker cards.
Yeah, hover around 5 and just like higher education level. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Winifred Habbamock.
She's pretty good. She can live with Sefina for now, around there. Yeah. 5 foot has always been a bit of a sticking point for investigators because it doesn't do anything, but they keep printing cards to let you do things with your foot, so Winifred gets better when you do that. Her deck's relatively consistent because of the card draw you get from committing things, though she is a little bit shoehorned into the archetype because you do have to be committing things to test semi-regularly, because if you're not, why aren't you playing a different investigator? Her card pool sucks as well. So... yeah, maybe put her below Carolyn. Yeah.
All right. Jacqueline Fine.
Well, she's an A-tier investigator for sure. She is probably...
The ghost of Jacqueline Fine. Don't go in there.
She's probably just behind Mandy for power level. So yeah, bad card pool, as with all the Star Deck investigators. Mystic suffers a little bit less from it, I think, than some of the other classes because it's inherently baked in that you can do anything with the card pool. Her stat line is really good for what she wants to do. You can tell because there's a 5 in the brain, and she's got some other stats too. And her ability plays really well into a lot of the Mystic archetypes, and I mean, yeah, it plays really well into a lot of the Mystic archetypes, but that's not what you use it for. You just use it to never fail tests ever. Any of the tests that matter, so it's like a free analysis kind of on every single skill test that you care about at your location. Yeah, she's really basic but really good. Very similar to Harvey.
Stella Clark.
I think she's still A tier, but she's gonna be like down near-ish the bottom of it a little bit. Yeah, like similar to where, about there, sure. Maybe a little bit below Wendy. She's actually very similar to Wendy in a lot of ways. She has a stronger signature, I think. Wendy's can be very strong for building to abuse it, but then you can't do quite as many other things with your deck because you've committed so much to that. Stella's signature is obviously insane, but I think that Survivor definitely suffers from not having access to other colors.
It is kind of crazy. You just look at I feel like we were in a period where signature weakness design was just abysmal in comparison. I feel like we're starting to get to better signature weakness design, but just compared to Wendy, take 2 horror, remove your discard from the game. You're always in thinking about it. Stella's is if you take a test that's 4 or more difficulty, you take 1 horror,
you're in the Survivor, you're like, oh no, 1 horror, literally who cares?
I feel like that was a very low point for signature weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, that is part of the starter deck design, right? I mean, that Cho's got a hell of a weakness.
Yeah, his is pretty, yeah.
Harvey's is very punishing if you're playing into the cards that he was designed with, to be fair. Yep. Jacqueline Fine's also is it's not bad weakness. It's not definitely on the easier side, but it's not...
It her ability.
Yeah, which sucks. Yeah. And the really tough part about it is it's not... you can't just get rid of it, right? It's luck-based.
Yes, yeah.
Whether you can get rid of it or not. And then... I don't even remember what Winifred's is.
It's the thing that you got to commit every turn or lose 2 resources or whatever.
You don't lose. That's the
damage or something.
No, it's you have to commit it.
You do have to commit it.
Isn't it -1 to your skill test? You can only commit it.
Yeah, and if you pass or you get rid of it if you pass or fail or something.
I think you get rid of it if you fail.
Yeah.
I mean, that one's
I'm pretty sure
fine.
You have to pass the test, because if you don't have to pass the test, then it's just 1 action, please. Yes, I will take a book test.
Yeah, because the one that makes you there's the one that came in her set that had it so you lost resources.
Yeah, that one was arrogance or something.
If it succeeds, return it to your hand.
Yeah.
So you have to fail. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This binder's flipped. All right, who's next? I know what's next. There's so many investigators. We need to do a slideshow change.
Oh God.
You're over halfway though. We can see the end.
This is an ordeal.
Yeah. I don't know. Last year it took me 3 hours. I don't want to do. I'm not looking forward to how long it's gonna take me again this year. Oh, it's parallel, Jenny. Yeah. What the hell? Why so big?
Yeah, that's the art they used for the cover on issue 1 of the Arkham Horror comic book.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just use normal art?
Because fuck you, actually. They called me to tell me that. It was crazy.
Yeah, because you
talked a lot.
It was real weird. It was real weird, actually. Yeah.
All right. On to Ann Smith with Sister Mary.
She's a D-tier investigator. She sucks. She doesn't even play her own archetype particularly well, I don't think. There are reasons to play her a little bit. You can play sort of a neat Bless support deck. But anytime you try to do some proactive with the Blesses, other investigators just do it better. There's a small niche for her, but again, she's not doing so well. Yeah,
and you also know that she's not that exciting because we're already ready to move on from her.
Yep.
Amanda Sharpie.
She is an S-tier investigator.
Sorry, what are you on, and can I have some? It sounds like fun.
I'm not entirely sure what she does to deserve a slot there, but she does.
So now we're just putting investigators places because the letter is in their name?
Yeah. Oh, S for Sharp.
Wow.
It's not even played by Sean Bean.
Amanda is probably just the best overall investigator in the game.
This is crazy.
Rex still, especially on Taboo, Rex still gets clues at a much faster rate than her. But Amanda can kind of do anything. And you just get to churn. Like she just does everything very well. She can be whatever deck you want her to be and be better than it than most investigators. Like if you show up with an Amanda deck that strictly wanted to fight, it probably wouldn't be as good or as efficient as the best possible Tony deck, but it would it'd be comparable.
It would have better burst, like high-end burst,
Yeah.
but like low consistency, not as much.
Yeah. Similar thing for Clue Gang. Like Rex is going to sit there. He's going to get his 3 clues every single turn, if not more. Amanda's going to have one turn where she gets like 6 and then nothing for a couple turns. Or turn 1. Yeah, she's really fucking strong.
It's kind of like true what you say. Like, I don't know why she's up here, but like...
She has to be.
It is. It's just, it's fucked up.
Yeah, like... It's hard to put your finger on exactly what she does better than the other investigators, really. But every time I've seen someone play Amanda well, the entire game is just them.
Yeah.
Like, they got the team on their back. The other investigators kind of don't matter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But if you crash and burn, which you can, especially like your first time playing Amanda,
yeah,
you will crash and burn. Yeah. All right. Trish Scarborough.
She's an 8-tier investigator. She gets to sit right behind Mandy, I think.
Oopsie. That was my own. I was like, no, Travis.
She's very close to being better than Mandy, I think, there. And the only thing that really she has a better card pool than Mandy, I think. Seeker 0-2, Rogue 0-5 is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Her stat line isn't quite as optimized, and her ability does require there to be an enemy in play, which isn't a big ask, but sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I played her semi recently through this. I mean, this is more of a Scarlet Keys problem, but like she was just dead.
Yeah.
Like the entire last scenario. Fuck that campaign. Yeah. No, she's really, really good.
All right. Next up, we got Dexter Drake, the magician. Man, it would be so cool if you're like D for Dexter and didn't say anything else. Just kept going.
D for Dexter and Drake.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, he's going to live at the top, very tippy top of B tier. He's kind of right on the cusp of the A tier. Mystic with 5 brain. You get lots of... His ability gives him lots of flexibility in the cards that he's playing. The Rogue 0-2 is like not super great.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't synergize particularly well with Mystic cards outside of like giving you resources, which is something that Mystic struggles with a little bit. And he gets a little bit in counter deck protection too, but you don't need it. Again, that's mostly, a lot of that's a product of him only having 3 foot, right?
Yeah.
Or is he...
No, it's 2 foot.
2 foot, yeah. So that blocks him out of using a lot of those low-level rogue cards. Yeah, no, Dexter's, I think, a very, very good investigator in general. Like I said, he's very nearly A tier. Yeah, especially being able to... There's a lot of like hidden value in his ability, I think, where you can not have to... where another investigator might otherwise have to spend an action to play their shriveling or something like that. You don't have to, because even if you can just keep the card and the resources in your pocket until you're actually engaged with an investigator, or with an enemy. So.
Die, Silas.
Yeah, like there's a lot of value in the opportunity cost that Dexter gets to abuse that isn't something that I think you would normally consider or think about. It is a little bit weird to think about it because most investigators there aren't really other investigators in the game that have that option, I don't think. Yeah, he's got a lot going for him. Man.
Silas Marsh.
I think Silas is a B tier investigator as well.
B from boat.
He probably lives. He's in a similar place to Carolyn Fern, I think, but on the fire side, I think it's maybe one below her.
Mm-hmm.
Helps a lot that they've printed some solid survivor weapons.
Mm-hmm.
But most of his power comes from Unrelenting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that card, as that they have also printed a couple of solid extra damage skills for him in Hemlock Vale.
Yep.
That helps a lot too. And because I think that, like I said, he's in a similar place to Carolyn, but for fighters where he can outperform a lot of the other dedicated monster fighters. But that's almost entirely on the back of Unrelenting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, Daniela Reyes.
She's like an A-tier investigator. I don't know where she belongs, though.
But we're just right in the middle right now.
Yeah, sure. Her card pool's bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good enough.
Yeah.
And her stat line is insane, and her ability is also very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's not too much to say. This is like, you just show up and you kill monsters with like bad weapons.
Yeah. And then if you get a good weapon, yeah.
Yeah, what she would be like if she could play blue 0 to 5.
Yeah.
Because like, you don't have to.
We did it.
We actually,
in our Scarlet Keys rerun where we played 3 Scarlet Keys scenarios.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see her move further up the list in the future. I think she's only a couple of cards away from being like really, like, overwhelming to the game.
Yeah.
It's just like she just needs a really solid survivor weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 2-ish, 3-ish experience. Or alternatively one that's 5 and comparable to, a runic axe or like, hopefully not Cyclopean Hammer, but
fingers crossed, right?
Yeah. Nothing like that
it's
ever
gonna be
again.
next type of list. They're gonna be like, whoops, we meant for this card to actually be blue and red.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if they do that thing where they design multicolor cards, but not as cards that belong in both classes. They design them as like parts from each class, and they're like, check out, this is like a Thorns card that heals itself in Survivor Guardian.
No.
I can see that happening too. That would probably push her over the edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right, I would just want everyone to know I have updated the Norman Withers picture. It now matches.
That's not right.
I did it with Silas too. Silas actually now matches the official one.
His other one's cooler too.
I know, but
Man, like, Norman's another A-tier investigator, man.
It's a lot of A-tier investigators.
There is. That's why we did our normalizing thing a little bit earlier. We're probably gonna do that again in a couple hits here.
Mm-hmm.
But Norman's again. He's got the same stat line as Harvey. I know it's not the same, but it is the same.
They'll be together.
Yeah.
They are actually the same person.
They are.
Norman's ability is really strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a weird mix of Harvey and Joe, which is, it's kind of weird to compare it to Joe's because it is similar in what it does, except Joe's is like better.
Mm-hmm.
From, like, in
all
theory.
Possible perspectives.
Not all possible. Like, it's better in theory, but Norman's is better in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Because Joe's, you get to pick what cards you're going to be looking at for this. They're going to be situationally drawing, and you get a 2 discount on them instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
But Norman, you just, if you don't draw, it doesn't go away forever. You just like get to keep it. So any of those situational cards you do draw, you just have them when you need them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, sure, you have to pay full price for them, but whatever. Scar pool is not super great, and Seeker level 0 is a really good place to be, as far as level 0 goes, and you can do a lot worse than having Mystic 0 to 5, especially those two together. Even Norman's weakness, I think, is actually generally beneficial, as far as basic weaknesses go, because it has practical uses in that you can block the game out of doing things to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, build a combat Norman deck for Edge of the Earth where you
Just
eat all the Tekka-Lilis and you're like, oh no, they can't go in my deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be a lot better if he could play like things that weren't events though.
Or his I know there's something else I want to talk about him. His signature is very good for his playstyle, and you swap the cards.
Yes.
And it is basically permanent.
Yes.
Because you just tutor it out with your stupid little library guy.
Yeah.
Go library guy.
Yeah, we love little good old research librarian.
Yeah, Norman good though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right, Monterey Jack.
C tier.
C for cheese.
Yeah. You got it this time. That's why he's down here in the C tiers, because he's a little bit green, he's a little moldy.
Yeah.
You can actually live like down by Joe. Yeah. So having access to Seeker 0 to 5 is fine. It's good. Good even, yeah. I would say the Seeker cards are pretty good. Only getting only getting 5 level 0 Seeker cards, not so good.
Mm-hmm.
Having to play with Rogue level 0 cards, better than it was, but still not so good. Having to move every turn to get your extra action at your guy, not so good. Being a secret yellow investigator and having 5 foot, not so good. He's a 1 brain investigator too, eh?
Yep.
Also not so good because you don't get any of the
green stuff to help.
You get a little bit of it, but like not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about Monterey Jack that aren't so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said a little moldy.
A little moldy.
Yeah.
Lily Chen.
Yeah, she's a B tier investigator.
Man, there's a lot of fucking investigators in this game.
It's been 8 years, Justin.
Yeah.
This gets harder and harder.
Yeah.
We'll put her up like behind Silas, I guess. So she's got a couple of really good things going for her. Her stat line gets pretty juiced as you get further in the campaign. Having extra weaknesses in your deck sucks, but I mean, with the abilities from the disciplines, they're generally pretty powerful, and I think that's reasonable. It's fair that you get the extra weaknesses. It's a reasonable trade-off. Those disciplines are her only abilities, though, and they don't always. A lot of them want you to. Well, at least 2 of them want you to kind of build and play around them. The extra attack one, and then the card draw one. The healing one just kind of happens, and the do a test by 5 more also just kind of happens.
Yeah.
It's kind of, that one's nice. It's I think that's the fist one, similar to Mark having Sophie, but much less flexible. Card pool's not great. Guardian's probably the worst card pool to have. And having Mystic level 0 to pair with it is abysmal.
Yeah.
Like, none of those cards, there's not really any overlap there besides that neither of those classes draw cards or get resources very well. She does have like a couple decks she plays very well. I think she does well with the Firefly Sword. And, I mean, with the cards that were in her set, but the unfortunate thing is a lot of other investigators play those equally well, if not better. Barfly Sword's good, but Mark with Barfly Sword's also good.
Yeah.
Cyclopean Hammer good, but like any of those guys in the A tier with Cyclopean Hammer also really good.
Yeah.
A lot of the ones not in the A tier with Cyclopean Hammer also.
Yeah, also the ones in the B tier and the C tier.
Yeah.
And like even our D's and F's can like be passable with that. So it's not saying a heck of a lot. Yeah, she really just sort of suffers from the disparity in the 2 classes. It's her card pool that I think kills her. So
yeah. And even that kills her is still B tier, so she's still Speaking of B for Bob Jenkins.
Yeah, he is top of the B tier, I think.
B for buying shit.
Yeah, he really be buying shit. The places where Bob kind of falls short for me is the lack of flexibility a little bit in what he can play. And his card pool is a little bit awkward, as is for most of these investigators, the Edge of the Earth guys. His stat line isn't really... He has a hard time with the early level 0 green cards. A lot of them don't work so well with his low foot, and some of the level ones also don't as well. He does make very good use out of the higher level rogue cards, though. And a lot of the low-level survivor cards don't really support what he's trying to do, especially when you're leaning into a big money deck. Playing sort of the item play assets thing is nice, but ultimately I think that he only really has sort of 2 deck archetypes he can play particularly well, which are like big money rogue stuff and scavenging. I'm wrong, like scavenging is really good this, and big money is also very good. That's kind of why he's at the top of the B tier for me, but yeah.
All right. Carson Sinclair, Scarlet Keys.
Who do we have left? Alright, we are actually gonna put Carson into the S tier for best support investigator. He does that really, really good. So Carson, on his own, the 2s are a bit off-putting. You can't do it. It's kind of weird how the 2s investigators ranked really high, and so did Preston, and the 3s are all in the trash. But
that's how it goes, right?
Carson has really solid deck building. He's got that sort of Dream Eaters thing where you can pick from the 3 classes. There's a lot of flexibility in what he can bring to the team. But ultimately, what he brings to the team is just like 33% more game for the people who actually do things. You only use... Realistically, you're using 1 action to move in a turn and 1 action to play some kind of soak or some kind of support, like fill-in effect. You play Scene of the Crime, or you play a guidance or something like that for one of your other actions, and then your 2 other remaining actions, you just give them 1 to, or your free action, and then your other action you just give to someone else. And I've mentioned the efficiency of using an investigator's free action they get from their ability. It's super easy to use on Carson. It's very rare that you're not going to be attached to the hip to someone. If you aren't, you should not be doing what you're doing. And that extra action is almost always just going to be... The extra action is so much more valuable for Carson to give to someone else than pretty much any other investigator is for them to do what they're doing. Like, Carson giving that action, using an action to give it to another investigator, is better than most other investigators getting an action for themselves. If that makes sense. So even if you're not playing someone like Tony or Rex, who just gets absurd value out of an extra action, then Carson giving an action to whoever's the best at something on your team is better than one of your other investigators taking a random action. Does that make sense? I'm struggling to explain this.
It's one of those things that it's It's like when I say that Sefina, even though she draws 13 cards, her mulligan feels weaker than other people, right? It doesn't actually, like, mathematically make sense, but then you put it into practice, and it does. It's that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So Carson's ability here is effectively just to take an action every turn using somebody else's kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so like we don't need to build our own kit. We don't even need to bring stuff that makes us good at a thing.
Yeah.
We just pick somebody else, and we're like, whatever you do, that's what I'm doing on my turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, like, so you're Mary Lambeau. I think Mary Lambeau is a good comparison to that, where you can kind of do whatever you want with that extra action, but she does have limitations on it. And she has to do it based on what she has, but Carson is just doing it with the best of what your team has.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, like
That was a good
if
explanation.
if nobody's brought cards to be good at a thing, then like. Anyway.
Wow, that'd be really frustrating if you show up playing with people who didn't bring cards to be good at the thing.
Yeah, it'd be really strange, wouldn't it?
I mean, I've done that a couple times.
All right. Next up, we got Vincent Lee, the Doctor.
Yeah, you could take an extra action as this guy.
I think we're gonna put him. He's gonna like live down kind of by Ashcan Pete a little bit there. He's a solid investigator, but his kit's awkward.
Yeah,
It's
I
not-
mostly just wish that he had 4 fight and 3 book, but
Yeah, it's not nearly as open ended as Carolyn's is, where the horror healing on her feels like a bonus, but damage healing for Vincent, it feels mandatory. And you're probably going to be doing a little bit of both with either of them, but again, the bonus for the extra resource you get for healing horror on someone with Carolyn feels like a bonus to the horror healing, whereas for Vincent, if you're not healing damage, it feels like you're missing out on the skills.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that his card pool doesn't mesh quite as well with his stat line. Just overall like a little bit awkward to play.
I think that's very fair.
Yeah, the pieces. There's nothing in particular that's like really bad about him. It just doesn't quite come together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Kymani Jones.
B tier. I think.
for breaking and entering.
2.
By Winifred. And these two investigators are very similar in a lot of what they can do. Kymani has a slightly better card pool, obviously, because they can play cards that aren't just green.
Yeah, that's usually
Big plus.
Yeah.
The discarding enemies is quite powerful, but you're kind of locked into playing that deck. And you can flex like a little bit, but it just doesn't really. Just doesn't always work. It's awkward. The cards you need to efficiently deal with enemies don't really fit into the rest of. They're usually only good for that kind of. So yeah. Is Kymani limited on the rogue cards they can play?
I don't think so. I think they stopped doing
Rogue
that
0 to
because
5
everyone made fun of Finn, and they were like, "We did that on purpose." I don't think they did though.
They didn't stop doing that. Vincent's limited.
Yeah, but that's because Vincent's following Carolyn. Kymani is...
Wilson is limited.
No, Rogue 05.
And Tool 04.
Yeah.
Take that, Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's some decent tools that got printed recently, but I don't think Kymani really has the stat line to make great use of those. Especially the microscope's still fine. It gives you, especially the upgrade one, gives you a very large book boost for the test. But I think it only it triggers off evading enemies and them being defeated.
Yeah.
So you don't get to double dip on that, which isn't bad, but it's worse than it could be. So.
I think you do, because you do evade. It's a second evade.
Oh, you get the evade.
Because it's 2 evade actions, so I think you do get a double dip, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But even then, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of experience, too.
Yes, yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Amina Zidane.
Amina, I guess, lives in C tier for me. She's not good.
Not after Fantastico Foosball.
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So Mia right now, not a great investigator, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like right at the bottom of C tier is probably where she belongs.
Mm-hmm.
The charms just aren't there. The deck building's just not there. There's no stats to take advantage of the mystic cards that exist. That being said, I think that she is only a couple of cards being printed away from being quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Her ability is absurdly powerful, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to play things at a 3 cost reduction is like kind of ridiculous, especially if we get more cards that care about Doom and can benefit from that. And then the deck building where you end up playing charms or where you end up liking a trait is always kind of it's always good because you end up with it's easy to end up with interactions that weren't necessarily intended or planned for that can be very good.
Right, that's why I can't Winthrop has science. I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
Just like Ursula's relic, one day it will matter.
That's like Kate's in particular is a little tough because the science is a yellow trait.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas charm is just
it's open.
Yeah, anyone can play that. You have to. Yeah, it's pretty tough to justify something being a science card in a color that isn't Seeker. So
it's like how tactics are multicolored, charms fit the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even tactics is pretty heavily weighted in Guardian, but it is a lot more flexible, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think so. Like Mia's not good, but she stays at a D tier because her ability is so good, and I think that, the potential for her is not really factored into my rating because then she would probably be higher. But I think she could be very good.
All right. Daryl Simmons.
Oh, he's A tier. I don't know, man. I'm like bum with Daisy. Yeah. Some Daryl's at his best playing the Succeed by Zero archetype, I think.
Tested 0.
Tested 0. Yes, thank you.
No worries.
He is extremely strong, which is a part of his kit being very good as well as part of... no, that's a lie. Clue Drop is where he's the best. Yes, because the stupid research notes uses evidence. And you get so much evidence and you don't lose any tempo because of press pass. But he's a 5-book investigator, gets to play secret cards. It's hard to go wrong there. The Survivor 0 to 5 isn't great. It's not the class you want 0 to 5 of, but whatever, you can make it work. And being able to spend evidence, especially when you have his ability is really proportional to how easily you can get evidence. If you're trying to play with like Hawkeye folding camera or just using his signature for it, it's a little bit tough. You have to kind of think about your evidence, and it's a little bit... You're not always going to have it when you want it. But when you're out there with research notes, who gives a shit? You spend that on anything, man. What is it, clues? Like, that doesn't matter. You're going to get those clues when you make the test 0 and play your Shadow Light or whatever.
It's like, merging the two together, he's just, like, incredibly efficient at it.
And he is very similar to Mark in that it's very similar to Mark in that his stats are all basically 2 higher.
Yes.
He can kind of flex into anything, but does it slightly worse than Mark because basic punch actions are worth less than basic investigate actions, and you're most likely not going to be playing cards to give you extra damage. So
yeah. Charlie Kane.
Put them right in the middle of B tier.
B for buddies.
Yeah.
3 of them.
I think Charlie Kane is pretty good. I think he's actually a very well designed neutral investigator.
Mhm.
He fulfills that role very well. Biggest weakness for him is the economy. It's super hard to spend those actions and the money to put out allies that are worth playing a lot of the time.
Mhm.
I mean, you can spam out some like garbage allies there and build a decent board that way, but yeah, I think the deck is just deck's good when it gets going. It's just a little bit slow to start moving.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not too much to say there.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys are all new too. Once again, we get into the new ones. It's a lot easier to be like, this is how they are now. Like Wilson Richards, we had him for a year.
I'm gonna use some reminders what some of the parallel guys do.
Don't
too when
worry.
we get
Yes,
there,
don't
so.
worry. I made all these slides today for them, so I.
Wilson Richards, he also is gonna put him like right behind Charlie Kane there. Yeah, it doesn't get card pools kind of ass. Stat lines bad. Better than most 3s though because it's actually 4s.
Mm-hmm.
Still isn't great, especially since it's conditional.
Yep.
This is a pretty solid flex.
Mm-hmm.
Just doesn't really. You can do whatever you want him to do pretty well. He just isn't gonna do anything like great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have too much to say about him. I think he's just fine.
I suppose mediocrity at any cost is not really, doesn't
No.
have the same kind of
No.
appeal to it, does it?
No.
No.
Kate Winthrop.
She can go to the top of the C tier.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've played her twice on the channel. You did and I did, and both of the times we're just like, well, that happened.
I think
So
they've.
science doesn't start with a C, Travis.
Yeah. There's a C in it though.
C for science.
Her stat line is like fine again. The whole 4 foot in Seeker is not really where you want to be, but whatever. At least there's some uses for it. Her card pool is pretty abysmal. Her ability's fine though. It's basically +2 to the tests they care about. That's pretty much the only reason that she lives up here instead of a couple slots lower where Joe is. Her weakness really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Her uniques are pretty solid though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she just. I think that the science archetype's like overall kind of bad, and chemistry set's good, but outside of that, it's just like not great.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think she's probably pretty competent if you just play secret cards. I mean, it's hard not to.
It's hard not to.
Just
Yeah.
play secret cards out there.
Yeah, just ignore all the cool stuff and just be like, just jam it in. Alessandra Zorzi. She's the Countess? She doesn't count at all. Countess really should have, like, how much you succeed by be her thing. What
Yeah.
a fail.
Alessandra's tough because how good she is, again, is a product of how well you can use that extra action for parlays.
Mm-hmm.
And it's heavily dependent on the cards that you're playing. For example, if you're just playing a pile of parlay cards and you don't have your fine clothes in play, I think you should probably like bomb and B, top of C tier investigator. But she has the fine clothes in play. I think she's like kind of on the cusp between A and B.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing with like untabooed power words, she's an S tier investigator. But that's power words' fault, not her.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll like put her. We'll put her at the top, like near the top of B, I guess. Put her by Sefina for now, with like a little asterisk, kind of dependent on you having the fine clothes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is not as difficult as. I think you're more likely to find it than not between backpack and friends in low places and stuff like that. So.
B for banter.
Sure.
Kohaku Narukami.
Yeah, this one's tough. I've played this one too. think Cock is probably on the lower end of B.
I'm covering him. There he is.
Yeah, Investigator's still good. But a lot of the power in him comes from just kind of getting lucky. There's like the variance there. Not quite in the way that you think. Initially, you might think that the variance comes from like, oh, did I draw the curse and the blesses when I want to? But I don't think that that's the issue. I think the issue is consistently getting access to the card, because with his book and you have access to other tools like or to manipulate the tokens in the bag and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very easy to find the tokens that you need, but it's difficult with the card pool he does to find the cards that you need to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like his signature is a tome, but you don't have access to a research library and to just go get it. I'm pretty sure it's a tome. Yeah, when the paradoxical deck is popping, it feels good.
Yeah, but
it's strong. But
all the pieces.
Yeah, it's tough to get those, especially with Mystic's weak card draw. It's tough to put together the pieces that really let you consistently hit those token draws that you need.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Hank the Tank Samson.
This one's gonna be a little speculative because my experience with Hank is like what three scenarios.
3 scenarios.
So.
Yeah, intensely limited.
Yeah. That being said, I think he's pretty solid. I'm gonna put him like in C tier for now. We're at the top. We're gonna like shunt, I guess, Rita and Tommy down. I think Hank's slightly better than them though. Yeah. I'm trying to frame that a little bit better for you. Maybe Vincent belongs down here too. And Kawaki now we're here. Yeah. It's always kinda like the bottom of my B tier, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Hank, 6 fists is a lot.
The number do be big.
It's a big number. His card pool is quite conducive to the game that he wants to play, even though I think it shores up some of his weaknesses quite well, like the inability to be healed, being able to play I've Had Worse, and similar effects is quite. He can play I've Had Worse, right? I'm not
for sure. Yeah, myself. Spirit. I'm pretty sure.
Good. His Zero 2, good.
Yeah.
You do have the tools to kind of mitigate that not being healed aspect of it, but it does make it quite difficult to not. The deck building with him is awkward, I think. Where you want to have healing cards in your deck to take damage for your teammates. And so you can keep doing that, but they only work for like half of the game. And if you're planning to, you can't really plan to just stay on the front face of Hank. I think that you're just losing too much value in the card draw and or resource gain that the other form offers you. My initial thoughts on him were, why would you ever pick the not punch one? But I think it's actually pretty reasonable, especially the card draw aspect of it. And getting extra horror soak is really nice. So I've come around on that a little bit. But a couple other areas where he struggles is the assistant side, where you get the good book score, is you don't really have the cards to do anything with that.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It's the Kelvin Wright problem, right? Where it's like, I could do test at 0, but then it's like, why would I do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least Hank gets the card draw on that side, so you can make use of skills. He plays like the Dream Eater skills very well.
Yes.
And other skills too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like awkward from his deck building, trying to balance staving off flipping versus rushing into it. I feel like if you just rush into it, you are losing a lot of opportunities to do that sort of soak for your team and take advantage of the extra HP that you get. And sometimes you just get gorped. The cards just come up right. Or come up wrong. You don't have the I've had worse to protect yourself, and you just die. Like nice. I got like 5 brain.
Yep.
Yeah, and then this card pool just isn't really able to take advantage of the Six Fist in the same way that Guardian or Rogue can, which it's a little bit perhaps the design between Survivor and Rogue, I think, where the Rogue weapons are really good for Tony because they aren't balanced around you having a high fist score. They're balanced around you having a low fist score because they're asking you to succeed by a lot. So if you can succeed by even more, succeed by that amount consistently, they get much, much better. But the Survivor cards, while they're also balanced around you having a low fist score, they do it in a different way where they make you just able to pass the test.
Yes. Yeah.
And so using something like, for example, the old hunting rifle, it gives you +3 fist to an attack. That's a lot because your fist is probably pretty mediocre. But boosting your 6 from a 9 doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Not in the same way that showing up with Switchblade and you're like, I always succeed by 2 matters.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, this next one should be pretty easy.
Yeah, she's S
Gloria
tier.
Goldberg, up to Grandma tier for S. S for Grandma.
Yep.
S for Grandma.
S for senile.
Yeah. I'm so sad because now when she goes to her non-book art, she actually doesn't look like an old woman anymore. She just looks like a middle-aged woman, so we can't call her Grandma anymore.
Sure you can.
It's true.
She looked like that once.
It's true.
It's just future her.
Yeah. All right, you know what? She's always Grandma.
Yeah, which is actually past her because this takes place in the 30s or 20s. The 20s.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So she's just good because, controlling the Mythos deck is good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just kind of cut the balls off the game.
Yeah.
Snip, snip.
All right. Parallel Investigators. These were the old ones you'll know. Roland Banks, Parallel.
Yeah, the first couple. It's the newer ones when they reminder on. Parallel Roland Banks, yeah, he's C tier and live right with Roland. A little bit higher. Bump him up by sort of Rita. Yeah. More flexibility in what you can do. The directives are neat. I think he plays the front half parallel, back half base really well. I think that's really the way to do it because the deck building you don't get you get fucking Guardian 0 to 3. Why?
Yeah.
Goodbye. Insights and tactics 0 to 3, I think, as well, which is not as great as it seems. Yeah, it's better than base Roland, but just neat mostly.
Parallel Daisy Walker. She bad.
Yeah, well, because I've been figuring why these guys are down here, for all of them, really. Daisy's down here, Parallel Daisy's down here because her ability just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So you get +1 sanity and +1 brain per tome you have in play, which is solid, but you don't have the card pool on the backside to make use of that, even if you're playing with base backside. So you get the Mystic 0 to 2. It's not great, and you have to commit so many actions in terms of both play actions and card draws, and which admittedly isn't that bad in Seeker, but also the resources to actually get those tomes into play. And they also find a way to hold them all and to make that worth it. There's a lot of setup for not a ton of value there. And then her ability, which is a lightning bolt, to trigger the action abilities on a number of tomes that you control. It's just so much worse than getting an extra tome action every turn, where there actually aren't that many tomes that have proactive actions on them that you want to be doing at a certain point in time. They don't feed off any of each other in any way. There's no cumulative bonus for doing them. It's a lot better to just be using your old book of lore
every
consistently every turn.
Yeah.
So
They also switched. Look at that. Parallel Agnes.
She's a B tier investigator, I think, with Alessandra and Carolyn and them. Yeah, somewhere in there. Only has one deck you can play really, but where you play spells and then you play them again.
Mm-hmm.
She's really good at that though. Especially if you get to loop fucking Hollowed Mirror spell.
Yes, the Soothing Melody. Yeah.
Yeah, you get some absurd value from that. But you're very narrow in what you can play with her.
Mm-hmm.
And you can play again, I think like having the base back is a little bit better than her actual
Mm-hmm.
back. I don't think you get too much value out of including non-upgrade spells or whatever.
Yeah, you can upgrade. When you upgrade, you can keep the old
I don't think that's super worth it for most of them because you're sort of bread and butter spells you're going to be using most of the time are going to be the Soothing Melodies, which don't upgrade,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Dream Ears ones, which the upgrade requires you to like do a little bit of token fishing to get them consistently, but the benefit is also like you get them back, but that's what you do.
Yeah.
Like
So you don't really need to like upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some other spells too, but I think those are the ones that kind of form the core and the backbone of that deck. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just, yeah.
Now it's parallel Skids.
Yeah, in contrast, this guy is an A tier. He's really good. You get so much free money and so many free tests to abuse stuff. I didn't even go put him like, I didn't put him by Daisy. I think he's really good. I don't think he's he's not in competition for best investigator in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of these other guys are, but he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just free money every turn, and then you can do a surprising amount of value just from having a test to take
Yes.
at 0.
Yes. Yeah. Like nimble, just like move. Yeah.
So yeah.
Parallel Wendy.
Alright, so she is like bless or curse or both, and then
Yeah, you get
can
plus 5
seal
deck
them.
size. You can seal them on enemies when they would ready. They don't.
That's it. Eh?
Yeah, something like that.
Put her in probably top of B tier. Yeah, she's like pretty decent. I think she's got a great card pool.
Mm-hmm.
So you also get the Survivor 0 to 5. Just silly. Why did she get Survivor 0 to 5 and Parallel Roland only gets 0 to 3? What the
Because
fuck?
Parallel Roland, they needed to make him weaker because he was too strong. So
Yeah, we really got to kneecap the Guardians, man. We can't access high level stuff.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed when I was going to build a Parallel Roland deck, and I was like, I'm going to play Shotgun with Sure Gamble, and
Yeah.
you cannot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. Wendy Adams she's a little bit tough to evaluate this one, I think, because there's so much going on. I think that she is a relatively high skill sort of investigator
Mm-hmm.
in comparison to a lot of the other ones. Definitely worse than just base one though.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to beat just redrawing a token.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, freezing enemies is like pretty decent. Downsides, it doesn't really doesn't do anything, you know.
Yeah.
It's better than evading them, but it's still like they're gonna be a problem eventually. So yeah.
Parallel Zoe. So
She does bless stuff, right?
yeah. So when you deal damage, one more damage to an enemy,
Put
each
bless in
phase
the
you're gonna
bag.
bless in. When you take a test, you can remove 3 to Vicious Blow.
Okay.
And her deck building is like 0 to 3, blessed 0 to 4, and then probably charms. They all these motherfuckers, the new ones, they can just play charms or some shit.
Yeah. Okay.
But mostly she can't play the spear, but she can play the blessed blade.
Okay. She's probably A tier then. I think that could go either way. I think that I like down at the bottom-ish. I think she's very similar to Agnes, where you get the extra testless damage. I mean, it's not really testless for her, but there's a little bit of work getting the blesses in the bag. But I think that Blessed Blade 4 is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you want to play regular back and just play the spear, and like especially with the new Hemlock cards, Guardian has enough less cards to make that good. So
Yeah. All right.
Parallel Rex is like curses. You can put curse in the bag instead of putting clue downs,
or vice versa. Yeah, and it's like 2 curses, I think. Yeah, so it's like it swaps the 2. And you can play gambits, I think. Cursed cards and like gambits.
That's so much worse than regular Rex.
Yeah.
What level curse cards can you play?
I think up to 5.
Up to 5, okay. And then you get...
It might be 4, it might be 5.
How many Seekers does he get?
That's a great question. I'll look.
Okay.
It's not real.
It's always nice with the Bryn one for this, where it's just like, not real. Next card, not that one, not real. Everyone, also, Susie is super not real. As far as I'm concerned, she's like a Barkham investigator.
Yeah.
She's a joke investigator. Mr. Sex Murphy, they call him.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring a Susie deck to.
How would you know that mustache? No, you're not. I'm not gonna play with you.
That's okay.
Seeker 03. So Seeker 03, Cursed and Gambit 04, and up to 5 other rogue level 0.
This smells like a B tier investigator to me if I've ever heard of one. I think the thing you really benefit from here is... Oh, that's getting pretty... I got a second line there, and fuck that. Put him in C tier. Fuck that.
Sorry, buddy. The aesthetics killed you.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it doesn't sound that bad.
But it also doesn't sound that great.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, why... What situations would you want to be putting curses instead of putting clues down, or putting clues down instead of curses in? I don't think you ever really want to put clues down instead of curses in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's really
you could kind of use it as a battery with, like... It's like looking at the good curse cards in Seeker. Because if you're putting clues down, then you're playing research notes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, and like press pass, so that's good. Being able to put 2 clues down, or if you put 2 curses in the bag, can you do 1/1?
I don't think so.
That's be all or nothing.
So yeah, when you would either place one of your clues on your location, or add 2 curses to the bag, do the other instead. So it's specifically 2 curse tokens.
Exactly 2. Okay, I mean that's most Seeker cards.
Yes.
That's a shame that you can't play Stirring Up Trouble and put like 6 clues down to gain 2.
Yeah.
That's really a shame.
Yeah. How dare you box us in?
Yeah, that seems like just a battery for Faustian and Deep Knowledge, which is fine. Putting clues down for those instead of curses into the bag for your research note is, it's fine, I guess. Especially you get to play the card for free because it's the press pass action. And on the other side of it, like, I'm up to like the top of B tier. I'm convincing myself on this one. Putting curses in for analysis seems insane.
Yes.
Putting a curse in to like forewarn something seems insane.
But you gotta put 2 in, right?
2, yeah, it's always 2, but still. And it also still counts as doing the thing, so it still triggers all the other stuff too.
Wow. Yeah, okay, that seems pretty solid. I don't think any of those things are like particular, like really, really good, but like that's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, Parallel Jenny. As a reaction after your turn begins, you may play a talent asset reducing its cost by 1. So you have Leo for talents.
Okay.
And as a lightning bolt, you can discard a talent asset you control to gain resources equal to its printed cost, up to 5 resources a round. Her deck building is Rogue 03, Neutral 0 to 5, and up to 10 other non-permanent talent cards 0 to 5.
Non-permanent talents, okay.
Man.
Are those tricolor things talents?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Pretty sure. Man, we should... So, someone told me you should start using Arkham Build instead of Arkham DB for looking up cards. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I have to load a page. Yeah, they're talents. Didn't even have to load anything.
Nice. Well, we're never playing the backside. I don't think there's any value on either side of it to be playing. I mean, I guess basic gen you could benefit a little bit from the back. and playing some of the talents, like the core set ones. But so you can discard to gain money equal to its cost?
Yes.
This also smells like a B tier investigator. Put them in with Winifred and Kymani, because
just in the rogue section of the middle B tier. Can I put Finn with them too, just so they're all together?
Yeah. I was gonna shunt Winifred up with the other two green ones so that they can hang out.
That's fair.
Yeah, rogues like to spend time together.
They do. Yeah.
I was saying, I like the card draw for her. She gets to churn through her deck really fast. Yeah, so Jenny Barnett, this is purely speculative. So I clearly did not know what this investigator did before when I sat down right now. So you have to play your talents for less, and then you can discard them to get your money back. And this, like... So you're making money on that. What are you doing with your money? You can play big money? No, that's a shitty and, like, really action-intensive way overall, I think, to get money. You're not actually you're making one per, like, what are you doing? So we're not doing that. So we're actually probably trying to use the talents. The Edge of the Earth ones probably don't do much for her. I guess the ones that are actually rogue you might care about if you're playing other cards you can play with them. But again, you want to be playing a talent kind of every-ish turn. Thankfully, they are usually slotless. Sharpshooter doesn't do anything for us.
Very true.
That's a talent.
That's just a general statement that goes across the board.
I'm trying to think of like what talents there are.
Do you want me to show? You want me to use?
No, that's fine. Like the most, I only got one more point to make for it. Like I don't think my opinion on this one has a lot of weight to it because again I'm just guessing. But yeah, and then looking at like the core set ones are the ones that would make me think that it's kind of the ones that you want to use. Because you get a free use out of them, you pay them for one less, not having to spend the action on them. Especially when you get to the level 2, playing those for free is pretty okay.
Yep.
She probably plays Well Prepared pretty okay too. That's a talent, right? It's gotta be.
Almost at the W's.
That plays really well with those, and then the level 4 versions of those, extremely experience intensive, but like really good. You could just.
It wrapped back around to A.
Oh God.
Let me just search Well Prepared.
The downside to those is, and Well Prepared, is it's just stats, right? So you can churn through your deck with passing a test battle with Lucky Cigarette Case 3. You can pass your tests a lot, but it doesn't like help you win the game. It's a similar issue to kind of like what I talked about with Hank and Calvin. Is you can abuse some of the fighting stuff. Like Switchblade, so I mean, like it seems like a lot of investment for a pretty mediocre return. I think that's a good place for.
All right. Parallel Gym. After you reveal one or more Scholar Curse tokens during a skill test you're performing, you can replenish a charge on an asset you control. And then he has that crazy spirit deck where you'd have 9 different allies. This is level 0 to 2. Your deck building is Mystic 0-3, Spell Curse 0-4, Neutral 0-5, and up to 5 other Survivor level 0.
Alright, so like power-wise, I think this is probably like a low A tier investigator, but I'm putting him in the F tier because there's too much fucking shit on this card. Not because
too much fucking shit on me.
Like no, I think this is like an absolute abomination of an investigator design. I think that any investigator where you're like, oh, you got like an extra card that explains the rules to you is very likely to be a bad design. There's just too much going on, especially if it doesn't like Tony and Preston, I think, are good examples of having that extra card because the extra card doesn't really do anything. It doesn't provide any extra rules for the most part. It's mostly just there those rules could fit on their investigator card if they wanted to. It's just there to like hold the tokens mostly. Whereas this shit is like you have 2 investigators and you fucking staple them together, and what my investigator card does has nothing to do with this like graveyard shit.
Correct, it does not, yeah.
And it doesn't even say anything on it. Like you could hand it to someone like, here's your investigator, and they'd be like, yeah, this is my investigator. And then you got the graveyard thing for some reason too. Like Parallel Wendy is also guilty of this, but at least her card cares about it. And I mean, it also kind of holds things, but it's not in the same way that the bounty and the family inheritance do, where you can mix them up with your resource tokens, because you could just seal blesses and curses on your investigator card. That's probably not an issue. But yeah, like, this is just an absolute abomination of an investigator design, in my opinion.
All right. Parallel Ashcan Pete.
Well, he's like up there in the near the top of the A tier.
For Ashcan Pete.
Yeah, put him like below. Yeah, right about there. Because he does enemy management, he does it extremely well.
I think I think that, like, if you don't care about killing the enemies, he's the best enemy manager in the game. It's insane.
I was gonna say, like, that's why he's slightly below Nat Cho, because like you do have to, like, the enemies don't just die. It's hard to get better enemy management than just killing them. But yeah, he's extremely good, I think. He could probably, like, in terms of power level, could probably be in the S tier, but it's not really fair because he's the only one who really does what he does. It's not really comparable to other investigators in by a lot of metrics. But yeah, he's really good. And it is unfortunate what he does doesn't, again, like, progress the game. But yeah, no, really good investigator, strong.
Parallel Father Mateo.
Yeah,
so,
I'm gonna need a refresher.
Lightning Bolt. During your turn, seal a blessed token on an investigator location with no blessed token sealed on them, limit once per round.
Okay.
As a reaction, when an investigator reveals a chaos token, they can reveal it on the blessed token on them, and you return it to the bag, not to the supply.
So you seal a blessed token, and once per turn when someone would draw a token, you have like a seal of the sun.
Yes, yeah. Favor of the sun, but it goes back into the bag, not into the supply.
Every turn.
Every turn.
Okay.
Mystic cards 0 to 3, Bless 0 5, Neutral 0 5, up to 5 other cards with Seal level 0 to 5. So we get a Seal enemy one day, Bryn. We can probably put that in this deck. Or if they put in the flavor text, you may not seal this token. Let's go! Father Mateo's in it to win it.
Father Mateo gets to live right behind Parallel Pete, I think, actually. And this is entirely on the back of Ancient Covenant.
Yes.
Card's pretty high.
Yeah.
If Ancient Covenant doesn't exist, he's like still pretty okay, but not. He's a B or maybe even high C tier investigator. But like Ancient Covenant's a stupid card.
Yeah, it's very good.
So
yeah.
Yeah, what about this different cheese man? What's he got
different
going
cheese man?
on?
I think he's pretty fun. I don't know if he's good, but I think his ability is really fun. So as a reaction, discover the last clue location, search top X cards of your deck for a charm or relic asset and play it, reducing its cost by X, where X is the printed shroud value of your location.
Okay.
Rogue 03, Charm and Relic 04, Neutral 05, and up to 5 other Seeker cards level 0.
Yet another relic-focused investigator who cannot play the armor of Ardennes.
Sorry, can I hear the deck building again?
Rogue 03, Charm and Relic 04, Neutral 05, up to 5 other Seeker cards level 0.
Okay, I'm not going to look at the list of charms and relics, and we're just going to like blind put them at top of C tier.
Yeah, and he reminds me a lot of like the Joe Diamond level thing where it's like, it's fun, but not great.
Yeah, that sounds neat.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, fun, but I'd be like not very good.
No, I think the nicest thing, and
the charms and relics I can think of are like meh.
The nicest thing that I think it does, that I think if they do the Edge of the Earth ones, is that it gives these guys I think there's a reason to use the back with the original front more than other ones, because you're not stuck in hell.
Yeah, playing an alternate color.
Yes.
So what level? He's level 0 to 4 charms and
Yeah,
that sucks. I was gonna say we found an investigator who can't play the stupid Cyclopean Hammer well, but no.
Well, Travis, nice job.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother going through and reordering them within the ranks anymore or anything. So that's what you guys get.
If you do want to see, there is I have a link in the description if you want to just like get the thing. I should have said that at the start of the video, but then we would have spoiled all the fun surprises. Great tier list. I think this one's pretty sick. And I'm excited to see Bryn's in the future, but it actually came out yesterday when this video comes out.
Is weird.
It's going to be a wild time.
I hate YouTube time.
I love it. It makes me feel timeless. It makes me feel like a wizard. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our yearly Christmas tradition. Notably, people have asked for it. There is not going to be one of these with Eric yet. Eric has played 6 investigators.
Just sit Eric down, like, you're going to give me hot takes?
Just
off the
tier
cuff.
list on the investigators that Eric has
played, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
easy. Five minutes, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you could toss that to them as a bonus video on Christmas.
Yeah, I'll get something like that. It will be happening one day because Eric actually has, like, a very good card evaluation and discussion about that. So
they play a lot of card games. So
yeah, so it'll come in some form, but not this year. This is the end of Christmas. Santa is dead.